Eddie, first time in 6 years that we're in Nottingham. Excited?
I am, and I can't believe we never came here, actually, with the Cobra. There's the first thing I thought when I looked around is that it would have been an unbelievable night. Not the 80,000 that he eventually went on to, but it would have been a good place to start. And it's a big night for boxing in Nottingham. They haven't really had anyone since Carl who has won major titles, and Leigh Wood now has a major title, and he has a big domestic fight on Friday night, and a chance for him to sort of just become a little bit of a star here in this city. And I'm looking forward to being back.
I remember the video after the Butte win of you running across the ring. You weren't meant to be in there yet, but you expecting anything similar on Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge night, for everybody, for Matchroom, for Carl, obviously, for the city. And, I think that will never be repeated. But we have a chance to start something. Carl didn't become a star in Nottingham overnight. He came with big fights and big wins, Commonwealth, British title fights, then obviously coming out in the Pascal fight and stuff like that. So Leigh Wood's got a long way to go. But he walked in, I was doing an interview in this room, and he said, "What do you think, this summer or next?" I was like, you've got a bit of a way to go. But he has the ability, not just in the ring, but as a likeable character in this city, to do something like that if he's good enough to achieve those heights. And he's got a long way to go. Ryan Doyle is a brilliant test for him. It's a bit disrespectful to call Ryan Doyle a gatekeeper. We put him in with Reece Bellotti. Bellotti was supposed to come through that, and Ryan Doyle knocked him out. Then we put him in with Jordan Gill, and Jordan Gill was too good for him. So he's a really good yardstick and a guy who's capable of winning Commonwealth and British titles. To see where Leigh Wood's at, he won't quit, he won't back down, he'll bring support with him as well. So Leigh Wood against Ryan Doyle is going to be a very interesting fight.
There's almost a danger as well that you might be people might read too much into that Gill fight, because there was all sorts of whispers that he didn't make the weight right. So actually Ryan could pose a massive threat.
Well, I think Doyle has always been very, very competitive in every big championship fight he's been in. The Bellotti fight was a shocker, really, because I expected Bellotti to walk through him, and he boxed absolutely brilliantly that night. And even in the Jordan Gill fight, Jordan was outstanding, but he was in it, and like I said, he apparently had a bad build up to that fight. So I think he's coming to win. He accepted the fight straight away, and Leigh Wood's got a difficult style. He's a bit of a switch hitter. He's sort of got that sort of Ingle Jim style that he's learned over the years. So, and he's in his hometown. But like I said, Ryan Doyle bringing lots of support from Manchester, and very, very capable of winning this fight.
Jordan's also on the card. Leigh and Jordan, we're calling them the bunk bed buddies. So there's quite something for you to build on as the promoter as well, that the two of them could take Nottingham and Peterborough onto bigger and better.
Well, we saw in the NXTGEN at Peterborough, Jordan Gill sold a huge amount of tickets, sold over 1,000 himself. We had like 4,000 in there that night. So that's really got some potential. The great thing about NXTGEN cards is it's giving fighters that aren't quite ready to headline Saturday night fight nights yet the opportunity to headline, to be under that pressure, to get the profile, and to graduate, if you like, to Saturday night fight night. So for me, if Jordan Gill can win well on Friday night, he can headline his own show Saturday night fight night in a big fight for the European title, for a world title eliminator in Peterborough later this year. So this is what it's all about. He's coming here, he's being the main focus on these cards. He's been one of the big success stories, I think, over the last 12 months for Dave Coldwell and for British boxing. Always had loads of talent and ability, but now coming through and looking like a potential real star. So it's going to be interesting. And, I'm excited to see him in with another tough Mexican. This guy, Tinoco, I think will give him more rounds than previously. I think he went the distance with Devin Haney as well, up at lightweight. So obviously he can take plenty of stick. And Jordan Gill is an exceptional talent, and it's good to see these two bouncing off each other. Like you say, they're roommates, and they've been pushing each other throughout their careers. And this is an important time. I'm travelling all around the world at the moment. There are so many unbelievable prospects in boxing, and it's really hard. You see two guys debuting on this show on Saturday, in Dalton Smith and Charles Frankham, two outstanding amateurs. Raymond Ford from America making his UK debut. These are world-class amateurs. But the pro game is completely different. You've seen many great amateurs not achieve, and you've seen many great amateurs go on and become pound for pound number one. So it's so exciting to be part of these guys' journeys, and that's what these shows are all about.
You mentioned there Dalton and Charles. Charles had a frustrating couple of months of finally making his much anticipated debut. What are you most looking forward to, maybe away from the top of the card?
Well, I think those three, Dalton Smith, Charles Frankham and Ray Ford are three of the very best amateurs in world boxing. Obviously Dalton and Charles Frankham turning pro, Ray Ford having his second fight here. I'm excited for all of those. I'm excited for Fabio Wardley. I think he's an outstanding young heavyweight who is only a couple of fights away from being in the mix with Dubois and Gorman and Joyce and those guys. Terry Harper, one of the top female fighters in the UK and pushing on for a world title shot. She's in the lightweight division. You've got fighters like Chantel Cameron, obviously Katie Taylor at the top of the tree as well. Chris Billam-Smith on the card. Looking forward to seeing him before his massive domestic fight with Richard Riakporhe on July 20th at the O2. And also looking forward to seeing Stephen Smith back. We sneak Stephen Smith on the card. He's not quite JD NXTGEN, but he's getting ready for a big fight potentially against Martin Ward. He's been out of the ring for a long time. Going to shake a bit of rust off and then jump into a big championship fight.
Stephen Smith 2.0, and
yes,
kind of qualified.
Yeah, something like that. We did, obviously the aim of these NXTGEN is to bring through the young talent. And when we was in Newcastle a couple of years ago, we also sneaked Stuart Hall on the card. He definitely wasn't NXTGEN either, and nor Swifty. But it's important to get these guys out, and it's going to be a great show on Friday.
Moving away from on Friday, let's talk AJ. Has he changed much since you've announced Andy Ruiz as the opponent?
As a person or in his preparation?
Has he changed much in his preparation, sparring partners?
Not really. I mean, there isn't a huge amount of difference in the size of the two. Ruiz is just much, much faster than Miller, and technically he's much better as well. He has much better upper body movement. He slips shots really well. He works the body really well. So there's a little bit of probably a change in the sparring mentality. Work more a little bit on speed. I think Ruiz is going to let his hands go a lot more frequently and a lot more willingly than Jarrell Miller was. Jarrell Miller would walk you down, and he would throw shots, but they were not sometimes tipper-tapper shots, but Ruiz whips them in. You've only got to watch him on the pads now with Manny Robles. He's underneath, he's throwing the big left hooks, body. I mean, he's relentless in what he does. So AJ's got to be careful. I was speaking to Carl Moretti from Top Rank last night, and who promoted Andy Ruiz for a long time. And he said, this is a tough fight. He said, AJ's got to be really careful here. And I was like, I got off the phone going, oh no, because this is a potential banana skin. People may look at Ruiz and say, oh, it doesn't look anything like Joshua. Speak to anyone in boxing. He can really fight. And he's going to give it everything. So Josh has got to be really, really disciplined in this fight. He hasn't really got a whole lot to gain because everyone's expecting him to win. So Ruiz has got everything to gain. He's going to be dangerous. And Josh has just got to be disciplined and make sure he puts in a great performance at Madison Square Garden. It's a huge stage for him.
All the words coming out of the States are that Ruiz is a tough opponent. I know Dan Rafael also sort of saying that he's very dangerous. Is AJ's biggest sort of obstacle going to be that the English public who might not know Ruiz so much are going to say, well, he's overweight, he doesn't look great. To blank that out and stick to what his game is?
Yeah, it's not really an obstacle. That's more for me. Obviously I'm the one selling the fight. The fight in the US is selling really well. People know Ruiz is. He just boxed on Fox. Just stopped Alexander Dimitrenko. He lost a very close decision to Joseph Parker for the world title. Many felt like he won that fight. That was in New Zealand. So from a US perspective, tickets are flying. Obviously he's Mexican as well. He's got a chance to become the first ever Mexican world heavyweight champion. There's now going to be a huge amount of Mexican and US fans there on June the 1st. So for the UK, obviously, the guys and the people who don't really know their boxing, it is a tougher sell because they look at Andy Ruiz and say, well, hold on, you've got Joshua who's carved out of stone, and this guy just looks like, he's not even training properly. Like my mates, my mate said to me, who's this guy he's fighting? I'm saying, trust me, watch this is a real fight. But when you talk to the likes of, Dan Rafael and Jesse Vargas and Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya, who are all saying, no, this is a much tougher fight than Jarrell Miller. And it is a much tougher fight than Jarrell Miller. And he knows that. And Rob McCracken knows that. And that's why I wanted it, this fight, because I had other options that he could have just gone over there and bowled over a guy in 1 or 2 rounds and got out of there. That's not what we want. We want a real fight. He's going to fill up Madison Square Garden on June the 1st. It's a massive night for British boxing. I know it's in America, but still, one of our own, the unified world champion, filling up that place, like, that's legacy stuff. So he's got to look good and he's got to win. So there's everything to play for. You know, he's got a young, hungry guy coming to make history, coming to take everything he's got, and he'll be ready.
A couple of weeks before that, another fight live on Sky Sports is Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale. First question, are you going?
No, I'm not, because I will be at the World Boxing Super Series with Josh Taylor. I mean, what a night that is for Sky Sports. You know, Josh Taylor against Barancic for the world title, Inoue against Rodriguez, unification, and then over to America for Wilder against Breazeale. Amazing night of boxing. I'm going to watch for sure. I'm always intrigued to watch Wilder because you don't really know what you're going to get. Breazeale, can he do it? Yeah, I guess he can. I mean, any heavyweight can. But I do think Wilder's a big favourite in the fight. You know, there were performances, you saw Josh play with Breazeale, really, in an early stage of his career. He had glandular fever going into that fight. Knocked him out in 7 rounds, didn't lose a second of a round. But then you did see Breazeale against Iognu, I think his name is. I'll probably pronounce that badly. In a great fight where he was hurt repeatedly, came back and stopped him. So he can fight. You know, can he stand up to Wilder's artillery? Probably not. But, you know, it's definitely one to watch. And all these guys, you know, you've got the top 4 heavyweights in the world in Joshua, Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder boxing within, sort of 8 weeks of each other. So after that, we want to assess it, see if they've all won, and then try and stick them all in together. That's the name of the game.
Will you be whoever wins, if it's Wilder or Breazeale, are you going to be straight on the phone to one of their teams trying to make the AJ fight? Yeah,
I mean, we are all the time. You know, all we're hearing at the moment is that Wilder has committed to 3 fights, which is Breazeale, Ortiz, and Kownacki, which is really disappointing, because even he's coming out now and saying, even if you offered me 50-50, I wouldn't take the fight. I mean, he's gone from wanting 60-40 to 50-50 to even if you offered me 50-50, I'm not taking the fight. So I think the only good thing to come out of it is the public are starting to see that he actually, or his team, don't actually want the fight. So it's frustrating because Joshua wants all the big fights, but what can you do? You can just keep winning. You know, we saw Usyk got injured yesterday and he's out of May 25th, but he will be the mandatory, and that's a fight that could happen in December. Maybe the Dillian Whyte fight happens in December. He's got to beat Oscar Rivas first. Maybe Josh fights Tyson Fury. Maybe he takes the IBF mandatory in Pulev. Anything can happen. Really, the most important thing for those 4 heavyweights is just to win their next fights, because in this division anything can happen. It's all very well talking about future fights. If someone slips up, it's over.
Let's just get a quick prediction before I come on to the other stuff for Usyk and stuff. Let's say that the Wilder fight will happen. Mm-hmm. When would that be? Well,
hopefully in November, December. You know, Josh is fighting June 1 and then he'll go in November, December. And that's when we want the Wilder fight. It's the only fight to make next for both guys. But, you know, everything that we're hearing out of their camp is not really giving us much encouragement that is the fight that's going to happen.
Let's move on to Usyk. Last night at the news, bro, his bicep, wasn't it? Do you want to just clarify this?
Yeah, Usyk, we had a message from Alex Krasuk and Egis Klimas to say that he tore his bicep. Disappointing, obviously looking forward to the Takam fight. But get some rest and he'll be good to go in August or September. So we look to reschedule that and go again. You know, it's heavy duty, this heavyweight division. I don't know how he did it, probably in sparring, you know, sparring big, heavy guys. So it's important that he's 100% healthy, and we'll reschedule that date shortly.
Some talk that Dillian might take the WBO mandatory. Any?
No, I mean, I think that would be a good result for Dillian Whyte. That mandatory is not due to be called till September the 31st. So my gut feeling is they'll still call Usyk for that mandatory spot. But, you know, if Dillian gets that mandatory, great. And we've also got the WBC issue, which is ongoing to clear up, about Dillian Whyte and Dominic Breazeale, which is, you know, a completely unfair treatment of Dillian Whyte in the WBC rankings. Everything that he's done in that division, all the defences of his WBC silver title, a couple of world title eliminators as well, and been ranked number 1 for God knows how long, and yet someone who's ranked 4 or 5 becomes a mandatory. So we're pushing hard for a resolution, and we want the Oscar Rivas fight to be for the mandatory position with the WBC and for that interim world title shot. So we'll see where that goes.
I saw some quotes, there might have even been a tweet that they offered you some sort of raw deal of where he could be and you weren't happy with it.
Yeah, we're all trying to come up with a resolution that's fair, and we haven't yet. So we're still pushing, and we want the Rivas fight to be for something very significant with the WBC, and that's probably an interim world title fight, and to become the mandatory to the winner of Deontay Wilder against Dominic Breazeale.
Well, the WBC aren't in your good books at the moment. Lomachenko also got called last night to fight Luke Campbell, and you weren't happy about that?
Well, it's bittersweet, really, because it's a great fight. And Luke Campbell, everything that I've said to Luke is, whatever happens in this resolution, you're the only one that's not going to get screwed, right? So you've got the shot. Whether it's Devin Haney, whether it's Abdullayev, whether it's Teofimo Lopez, whether it's Lomachenko, you're in. And they chose Lomachenko. I just feel like, what is the point in committing yourself? And the same goes with Dillian Whyte. Committing yourself to a governing body, winning intercontinentals, international silver titles, paying sanction fees for those titles, turning down opportunities with other governing bodies, that when a title becomes vacant, they don't just go down the rankings and take the first 2 available. Because Lomachenko has just strolled straight in. Don't get me wrong, he's power. I know why they've done it. They want Lomachenko to be their champion. They'd probably do the same with AJ, but they wouldn't do the same with Richard Commey or another champion with a low profile. And I just feel like, let Luke Campbell fight the next available guy and let them fight for the undisputed title against Lomachenko, which would happen. So, one side, amazing fight, Lomachenko-Campbell. And, I know that no one thinks anyone could beat Lomachenko, but I think Luke Campbell has as good a chance as anyone. He's big, he's awkward, he's technically very gifted. He was an outstanding amateur. He grew up with Lomachenko, 2 Olympic gold medalists. It's a great fight. But, I was throwing my toys out of the pram a little bit last night because I just felt that it should have been Luke Campbell against Devin Haney. And now it's Luke Campbell against Lomachenko. Understand it, don't think it's right.
Just quickly, that doesn't affect anything about the deal you signed with Devin, does it?
No, Devin Haney will fight on May 25th on that Usyk card, which will be probably moved to Las Vegas now. And then we go from there. But he will fight Abdullayev in an eliminator. But they've also made another eliminator for those 2 to fight each other, which again is ridiculous because it should be Abdullayev against Haney to fight the winner of Lomachenko against Campbell. So what can you do?
So will that be the headline of that card in Vegas?
No, it'll be he'll be headlining Haney, but it won't be against Abdullayev yet because he's observing Ramadan. So that will come after. But he'll be out May 25th.
Cool. And just quickly, Kell Brook, any update on maybe June the 1st?
No, he's not fighting June the 1st. He wants to jump into just a mega fight now. He wants the Terence Crawford fight. We'll see if the Amir Khan fight can ever materialise. It's still a big fight. It's still a fight people want to see. Khan didn't really take a lot of damage in the Crawford fight, apart from one in the nuts. So we'll have to see. But, Kell wants Crawford. He wants Khan. He wants any major fight. And I don't think he can get himself motivated for anything else.